Hare Krishna, devotees. Please accept my humble obeisances. All goes to Sri Prabhupada and Guru Maharaj. Yeah, so Parampavani Shamati, when are you ready? You can start, Mati.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, yes, I'm ready.
Yeah.
Should I share the screen? Like,
If you have facility, Mati, go ahead. Yeah, sure.
I'm with phone and I never did that, but I'm trying.
Oh, okay, sure. Otherwise, I can also share.
Yeah, I'm trying, but you can share if you can.
Okay, sure. Let me share, Mati. Yeah, sure. You could go ahead with the prayers. Yeah.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswati Vyasam Tato Jayam Udirayet Nashtaprayeshu Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavate Uttamasloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naistiki Shri Gurave Gaur Chandra Radhika Vitadale Krishna Krishna Bhaktai Tadbhaktai Namo Namo Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaur Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna. So it's Canto 2, the cosmic manifestation of Srimad Bhagavatam, and chapter 2, the Lord in the heart. Text 1. Sri Shukadeva Goswami said, formerly prior to the manifestation of the cosmos, Lord Brahma is meditating on the Virat Rupa, regained his lost consciousness by appeasing the Lord. Thus he was able to rebuild the creation as it was before. Text 2. The way of presentation of the Vedic sounds is so bewildering that it directs the intelligence of the people to meaningless things like the heavenly kingdoms. The conditioned souls hover in the dreams of such heavenly illusory pleasure, but actually they do not relish any tangible happiness in such places. Text 3. For this reason, the enlightened person should endeavor only for the minimum necessities of life while in the world of names. He should be intelligently fixed and never endeavor for unwanted things, being competent to perceive practically that all such endeavors are merely hard labor for nothing. Text 4. When there are ample earthly flats to lie on, what is the necessity of cots and beds? When one can use his own arms, what is the necessity of pillow? When one can use the palms of his hands, what is the necessity of variety of utensils? When there is ample covering or the skins of the trees, what is the necessity of clothing? Text 5. Are there no torn clothes lying on the common road? And do the trees which exist for maintaining others no longer give alms in charity? Do the rivers, being dried up, no longer supply water to the thirsty? Are the caves of the mountains now closed? Or, above all, does the Almighty Lord not protect the fully surrendered soul? Why then do the learned sages go to flatter those who are intoxicated by hard-earned wealth? Text 6. Thus being fixed One must render service unto the super soul situated in one's own heart by his omnipotency, because he is the almighty personality of Godhead, eternal and unlimited. He is the ultimate goal of life, and by worshipping him, no one can end the cause of the conditioned state of existence.
Not no one. By worshipping him, one can end the cause.
Oh, sorry. He is the ultimate goal of life, and by worshipping him, one can end the cause of the conditioned state of existence. Who else but the gross materialists will neglect such transcendental thought and take to the non-permanent names only? Seeing the mass of people falling in the river of suffering as the consequence of accruing the result of their own work, others conceive of the personality of Godhead residing within the body of the region of the heart, and measuring all the 8 inches with 4 hands, carrying a lotus, a wheel of a chariot, a conch shell, and a club respectively. Text 9. His mouth expresses his happiness, his eyes spread like the petals of a lotus, his garments yellowish like the saffron of a kadamba flower, and bedecked with valuable jewels. His ornaments are all made of gold, set with jewels, and he wears a glowing headdress and earrings. Text 10. His lotus feet are placed over the whorls of the lotus-like hearts of great mystics. On his chest is the Kaustava jewel engraved with a beautiful calf, and there are other jewels on his shoulders. His complete torso is garlanded with fresh flowers. He is well decorated with ornamental wreath about his waist and rings studded with valuable jewels on his fingers, his leglets, his bangles, his oiled hair curling with a bluish tint, and his beautiful smiling face are all very pleasing. Text 12. The Lord's magnanimous pastimes and the glowing glancing of his smiling face are all indications of his extensive benedictions. One must therefore concentrate on this transcendental form of the Lord as long as the mind can be fixed on him by meditation. Hare Krishna. Prabhuji, all dear devotees, apologies for mistaking. Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much, Madhavi. Hare Krishna. When you're ready, you can start, Madhavi. Aradhya Madhavi.
Thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna, dear devotees. Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So today, we only have a couple of verses, but they are so deep. The Siddhantas are very much that we need to take it to the heart. So just to give you a snapshot, so we are reading the reply of Sri Shukadeva Goswami to Maharaj Parikshit. Maharaj Parikshit asked 2 questions to Sri Shukadeva Goswami. What is the duty of everyone at all times? And specifically, what is the duty of a person who is about to die? Because Maharaj Parikshit was in that situation. He was cursed to die in 7 days. So Sukadeva Goswami said, we should fix our mind on Krishna. We should think of Krishna. We should remember Krishna. we should hear about Krishna, and we should chant about Krishna, and that is our duty. So, and then in the so like how to meditate on Virat Roop was described, and one can meditate on the Virat Roop. And now in this chapter 2, which is entitled the Lord in the Heart, Sri Shukadeva Goswami is going to tell us how we can meditate on Krishna in our heart. In Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, I am in everyone's heart. So this chapter is how to meditate Krishna in our heart, and that is what Shukadeva Goswami will tell us. So in there's only 12 verses that we are going to go over, but the first verse is the link is previously Brahmaji recreated the universe by meditating on the Virat Roop. So in Bhagavad Gita chapter 10, Lord Krishna says that everything comes from me. I am the source of everything. So Krishna is the primary creator through his Purusha avatar, which is Mahavishnu. The exhalation of Mahavishnu, the universe comes. But the universes are not really in the proper form. The 14 planetary systems, the 8.4 million species of all of that is unmanifested. So the primary creation is done by Lord Vishnu, but the secondary creation is done by Lord Brahma. There are 10 subjects matter of Srimad Bhagavatam. First is Sarga. Sarga means creation. Second is Visarga, the secondary creation. So the primary creator, we just have to understand that the primary creator is Lord Vishnu. Lord Vishnu gives the ingredients to Lord Brahma to do secondary creation, which is raw material is supplied by Lord Vishnu and assembled by Lord Brahma to create the 14 planetary systems and 8.4 million species. So Brahmaji is secondary creator and Lord Vishnu is the first creator, Sarga and Visarga. So in the purport, if you read the purport, it says, like, just a summary, Lord Brahma forgot the knowledge of creation, but by meditating on Virat Roop, Sri Shukadeva Goswami is telling Maharaj Parikshit that by meditating on his Virat Roop, that he just described to you, which is in the form of Krishna, by meditating on Krishna, Lord Brahma's Smriti came back. And Krishna says, by Krishna's mercy, we get remembrance. Brahmaji is one of the incarnations, but still he was placed into forgetfulness. In the purport, it says, being the incarnation of passion, of mood, of material nature, he's empowered by the Lord who generated the beautiful material manifestation. So there is Sakti Avesh in Brahma. Krishna invests his potency in Brahmaji, and by that he's able to create. Because Brahma can be Jiva like us through evolution, through progressive development, etc. A Jiva has a potential to rise up to the level of Brahma within the material realm. So because Brahma, after all, is a Jiva, he's prone to forgetfulness. Prabhupada is explaining in the purport. Krishna consciousness is the answer how we can escape from this bewilderment of illusion. Liberation means getting out of the slumber of forgetfulness and becoming situated in the real loving service of Krishna, as exemplified in the case of Brahmaji. Brahmaji is engaged in Krishna's service, so he's a pure devotee. Prabhupada is saying that liberation doesn't mean we stop doing everything. We have 4 types of defects, and we should all know this. We have defective senses. We have tendency to cheat. We make mistakes. We become illusioned. So 4 defects of a conditioned soul, as we know. So what is liberation? Simple. Liberation means service to Krishna without these 4 mistakes. So that was text 1. In text 2 to 7, just that karma kanda is rejected and the path of liberation is glorified. So in text 2, in the purport, the conditioned soul is always engaged in laying out plans for happiness within the material world, even up to the end of the universal limit. The conditioned souls, they are always engaged in laying out plans for happiness. Everything we do, we are doing for our happiness in this world. Just think about it. How many Brahmajis have come and gone, but our desires are unlimited, that we are still here in this material world. Our planning for enjoying in this material world will never end. In the purport, conditioned soul is not even satisfied with the available amenities on this planet Earth, where he has exploited the resources of nature to the best of their ability. Somehow or the other, we want to find enjoyment in this material realm. The real happiness is in the kingdom of God, where no one has to undergo the pangs of material existence. Janma, Mrityu, Jara, Vyadi does not exist in Vaikuntha, and that is where the real happiness is. Srila Prabhupada says, the real intelligence is we should prepare to go back to Godhead. That is real intelligence. In text 3, in the purport, Srila Prabhupada says, for this reason, the enlightened person should endeavor or only for the minimum necessities of life in the world of names. So things have different names, but they are just names, but they are not Vastavastu. So you should be intelligently fixed and never endeavor for unwanted things. Srila Sukadeva Goswami is telling us we should not endeavor for unwanted things. Being competent to pursue practically that all such endeavors are merely hard labor for nothing. So we work hard, we work very hard and accumulate materialistic things, but Mrityu Sarva Haraschaham. Lord Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, in the form of death, everything is taken away. By who? Krishna in the form of death. Therefore, intelligent person will invest in what? Dharma. And real dharma is Krishna Bhakti. And that investment will never be useless. Srila Prabhupada calls those who are entangled in material things are madmen. Every second of human life is important. We should be very careful with the time. We should never waste time. Sometimes we think of things that are not even useful, and we waste time on all those things. So we should just never waste time. Prabhupada says that human life is never meant for sense gratification, but self-realization. Srila Prabhupada repeats this in many places and many times too. So self-realization means to realize that I am a servant of Krishna. Srila Prabhupada says we should best use a bad bargain. So that was in text 3. From text 4 to 5, we're going to learn What does it mean to live with minimum necessities? So Shukdev Goswami is saying, when we can sleep on the earth, why do we need bed? When one can use his own arms, what is the necessity of a pillow? When one can use the palms of his hand, what is the necessity of any utensils? Right? And when there is ample covering or the skins of trees, what is the necessity of clothing? This is for ones in the renounced order of life. Srila Shukdev Goswami is telling Maharaj Parikshit, so Maharaj Parikshit is just wearing kopin, he has given up everything. So Shukdev Goswami is congratulating him, and Srila Prabhupada says that the necessity of life for the protection and comfort of the body must not be unnecessarily increased. That is what we should take from this verse, not literally that tomorrow we go to office wearing tree bark. So for us, the take-home message is, we don't want to have extravagant life. A devotee is simple. Saralta hi Vaishnavta. In text 5, so Sukadeva Goswami is asking rhetorical question. So here the answer is not required. And he's giving instructions for renounced order of life. In text 6, Srila Shukadeva Goswami is saying, by worshipping Krishna, who is in our heart, what happens? We become free from this material existence. Srila Shukadeva Goswami also gives us the hope that if we take shelter of Krishna, then this material existence becomes water contained in the hoof print of a little calf. So the solution for all problems is to take shelter of Krishna. Srila Prabhupada gives an example of mirage in the desert. So please read this purport when you get a chance. In text 7, so this is a rhetorical question again. But just to recap, so everyone is going through suffering because of their own karma. Srila Shukadeva Goswami is making us think that who else but a gross materialist, one who is just neglecting transcendental thoughts. Materialists are just like animals, Srila Prabhupada says. They are neglecting Krishna and running after temporary things, which will only lead to disappointment and misery. Our activities, whatever we do, are being watched, and we definitely have to face the consequences of our activities. If we perform good activities, we'll be given enjoyment in this material world. If we perform bad activities, we will glide down to the lower planet where we suffer. Actually, in Srila Prabhupada's purport says, there is no enjoyment. Material world is a prison house, and we need to get out of it. In text 8, so from 8 to 12, it's talking about super soul. So in text 8, Srila Shukadeva Goswami is describing the Lord in the heart, which is the title of our chapter. We should meditate on Supreme Personality of Godhead as Paramatma. In the purport, Srila Prabhupada says, Srila Prabhupada has given so many names of Bhagavan. So please refer to the purport for these descriptions and names. And it is purifying to read the names and descriptions of it. In text 9, Srila Shukadeva Goswami gives us more descriptions so we can meditate on Krishna. One thing I wanted to note here, that if we want to remember Krishna easily, we need to hear from a pure devotee, which is Srila Prabhupada, Goswamis, and all the realized souls. Read descriptions of Krishna in authentic shastras from our Goswamis by worshipping deities, etc., gazing at Krishna. Smaranam is very important. So that's what text 8 is about. So that was text 9. In text 10, there is more descriptions of Krishna is given for us to meditate on, which is like his lotus feet as placed over the rows of lotus-like hearts of great mystics. His chest is the Kastuba jewel engraved with a beautiful calf, and there are other jewels on his shoulders. His complete torso is garlanded with fresh flowers, etc. So we should, when we are meditating on Krishna, we should, so in text 8 to 12, you should read those verses when you get a chance, but those are the verses where it describes Krishna, the super soul. In text 11, more about Krishna, that Krishna wears beautiful rings studded with jewels, leglets, bangles, oiled hair, beautiful smiling face. So we have to meditate on these descriptions while chanting. So pure devotees who has seen Krishna is describing this to us. So Sukadeva Goswami is a perfect acharya, and he's describing what he has realized. And it is not imaginary, Srila Prabhupada says. So whatever is described here, it's all authentic, and we should take it to the heart and meditate on Krishna like that, because Srila Sukadeva Goswami says so. In text 12, so as I said, we should meditate on beautiful descriptions of the Lord, like what was in verse 8 to 12. Krishna is called Varadaraj, always giving benedictions. He likes to give benedictions. Think about Mahaprakash Leela and where Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is giving benedictions throughout that pastime. Krishna comes to give benedictions of his devotees. Srila Prabhupada says that impersonalist undergoes lots of difficulties, but here devotees have advantage over this impersonalist meditation. Here, the impersonalist is doubtful about the personal feature of the Lord, and therefore impersonalists try to meditate on something that is not objective. So therefore, devotees are very fortunate. We directly hear about Krishna's descriptions, and now and how beautiful Krishna is. When we meditate on Krishna, the natural result is anartha nivritti, chetodar paramarjanam. When we perform bhajan, then our heart becomes purified. So with that, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, will continue to hear about the Lord in the heart tomorrow as well. So thank you very much, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Yeah, thank you so much, Madhavi. Yeah, Parampan Mati has a question, looks like question or a comment. Go ahead, Mati.
So, I have a question, Mataji. Is on in text 5, as it is mentioned, like as you told nicely, that we need to minimize our requirement, teachings of this text. So one thing in the translation, I see that There's the last line says that, why then do the learned sages go to flatter those are intoxicated with the heart and wealth? So I know this is for in the sages in learned renounced order, but oftentimes like the situation sometimes I do face that sometimes uh to I need to please some of my co-workers, like that I feel that it's not good for me, I don't like, but sometimes I need to please and to make a peaceful situation, or just not to attract attention toward me, so that people talk about me. And so in that situation I have to like go with them in their way that I don't like. How do you say that? How I should learn from this verse?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, thank you, Madhavi. I think it's a really nice questions and really nice question, and we all go through this. So in my opinion, I mean, when we are chanting, so there are like different ways, different levels that we go through, right? When you become a devotee, you're dealing with people who have never chanted or who doesn't know about Krishna. And one thing that I want to note, that our only goal is to preach Krishna and Krishna's devotees. I know at work, sometimes it's difficult to deal with, but be neutral. You don't have to please them or, or the other direction. Everybody is a conditioned souls, and everybody is learning, going through their karma. And at work, being at a neutral position, where, like, unless you're seeking for promotion or anything, but as Krishna's devotees, I think he'll give us everything that we need. So our goal is to please Krishna, not our co-workers. There are situations where we need to go to parties, but sometimes we talk about in our Bhagavatam classes on Thursdays that we take our own lunch from home, and then we describe them. Hey, this is what I'm following. I mean, that's what I do at work, that this is my spiritual journey, and these are my restrictions, and this is what I do. So basically, you set yourself that you are a devotee of Krishna, and they should know that too. We don't need to please anybody. We definitely don't need to please. But being neutral at work would maybe help. And we don't need to right away change ourselves, or right away change others for our benefit. But we pray to Krishna that if there are like so many situations, it's like every situation is individually categorized. So if you're in a situation, you pray to Krishna that, oh, you're Krishna, I'm in such and such situation, please help me how to tackle this. And if you're sincerely praying, and Krishna will give us direction, because it's not like we have one solution is not going to help for every different problems, so for your work, I mean, my suggestion is just being neutral. We Krishna's devotees, we are very simple, and we should be very simple, and that's what you should keep in mind, that we are the servants of Krishna, and we are not here to please anybody. We are here to prepare ourselves to go back to Godhead. Hopefully that helps.
Yes, thank you so much. Yeah, that is very helpful. My main thing right now I'm facing, like I don't like to talk anything like kind of chit chat with them. You know, sometimes they gather and do some like light-hearted talks that I don't like, and sometimes they want me to join them, and when I stay away, and they just go to my PI and tells, oh, she doesn't want to talk to us. She stays in her own world. She's so like so.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
you know, sometimes, sorry, I'm interrupting
Mhm.
you.
No,
But
no.
I think I know where you're going with that, with this question. But you see, we are also like, when we are at work, we also don't want to portray ourselves as like a mad woman or mad man, you know, because we are also in a way, because if somebody wants to join our movement, you know, we don't want them to feel that, okay, oh, they are having this kind of thoughts, they are not even mingling with anybody. But when you're like, it's important, even at work, we don't have to chit chat about anything, you know. So when you are assembling with your friends or anybody, you know,
Mhm.
you should talk about your work, your research. You should talk about what's new in the field, because there are always articles coming out, right? So you should instead of gossiping or instead of chit-chatting about other materialistic things, you talk about your subject matter that you're learning about. And I think that way you might be able to, like, you know, have good relationship with your colleagues, and then you don't feel like, oh, you are left out and they don't have to complain about you. So talk about work, your
Yeah.
your research.
I do. Well, when they talk about work, I do. But when they talk about some reality show, and that I have zero knowledge. So
Yeah,
what?
so you should just say, I mean, I say I don't watch those shows and I don't know what you guys talk about, but I'm sorry, I cannot be part of this conversation. Unless
Yeah.
you talk about this, I can be part of this. But
Yeah.
otherwise, I have no interest. You can be upfront about your feelings, you know, towards a lot of things.
That's a good idea. Thank you so much, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much, Mataji. Let us offer our obeisances. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Sri Prabhupada ki jai. Our obeisance to all the devotees of the Lord. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kupasindubhyevacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Thank you so much, Mataji, for a nice class. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji.